Hi, I'm Sam Linsell and I'm excited to be working with Jarden Home Brands to launch the Ball brand preserving products in South Africa. Ball jars, lids and bands are designed for superior quality, sealing and performance, as well as kitchen tools to help you through the preserving process. These unique, innovative products have already received fantastic feedback from our foodie community. Home preserving has never been more popular as people want to live local by capturing the freshness of regionally grown food at the peak of its harvest, allowing to preserve for later and enjoy all year long. I'm here to share with you a tried and trusted method of preserving your foods for up to a year, and along the way share with you the assortment of Ball brand home preserving products to help make the process easier to preservers when compared to what they use today. I'll be using the Ball Home Preserving Starter Kit, which will help you preserve safely and easily and with confidence. This kit includes all the essential tools to preserve your fresh produce, a preserving rack, 3 pint jars with lids and bands, the basic preserving utensils, and a quick preserving recipe guide. Ball Home Preserving Products has been a trusted product in home food preserving in the USA for over 130 years, and its iconic jars are still synonymous with vintage style and functionality. 2-piece lid with band design is ideal to remove air from the jar during the preserving process, creating a quality seal that will store your food for up to a year. Jarden Home Brands found that through talking to South African preservers, they were using recycled jars and lids. These are not the most effective containers for creating a proper seal for long-term storage, as they are not designed for preserving. Your seal could come undone during storage, causing your food to spoil. The Ball brand preserving jars and lids are tested for superior quality and sealing performance during the home preserving process to ensure your fresh homemade creations stay delicious throughout the year. Ball jars are intended for home preserving. They are products to withstand multiple uses and the temperatures of the preserving process. Be sure to allow instructions for heating jars before filling with hot foods. Commercial jars are only designed for single use and may not withstand the preserving temperatures. The lid itself includes the time-tested sealing compound, which is the foundation for a good seal. This allows you to store the jars in the pantry or the refrigerator or freezer. 1-piece lids that come with commercially canned foods are not recommended for intended reuse in home preserving. They may not seal properly for a second time. First, I would like to share some of my tips for preserving. Start simply, and whenever choosing a preserving recipe, like for example the salsa that we're making today, be sure to pick a tested recipe from a trusted source. Check out the Ball Home Preserving website at freshpreserving.co.za or sift through over 500 recipes in the latest edition of the Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving. All of these preserving recipes are tested for safety and quality, as well as guide you through the tried and tested method of preserving in 3 simple steps to capture the freshness of your food for up to 1 year. The recipe we are making can be found on freshpreserving.co.za and is one of my favorites as it includes lots of fresh ingredients that look beautiful in a jar too. Another important tip, gather the right tools. Having the right tools makes the preserving process easier and safer. So let's have fun and get started. First, we want to prepare your stock pot. Fill it halfway with the water, and this should be just enough to cover your jars with at least 5 centimeters of water once they are lowered into the pot. For your salsa recipe, we will be using 3 pint-sized jars with lids and bands. Prepare your jars, lids and bands, wash them in warm soapy water, rinse well, and keep the jars warm until ready to use. In order to minimize the risk of breakage that can result from large temperature differences, like filling a cold jar with hot food, you can heat them in your stock pot, slow cooker or dishwasher. For this recipe, you need 5 cups of chopped cored peeled tomatoes, 2½ cups chopped seeded green bell peppers, 2½ cups chopped onions, 1¼ cups chopped seeded chili peppers such as jalapeno, 3/4 cup cider vinegar, 1 to 2 cloves garlic finely chopped, 1 tablespoon finely chopped coriander, 1½ teaspoon salt, ½ a teaspoon hot pepper sauce, and this is optional. Combine the tomatoes, green peppers, onions, chili peppers, vinegar, garlic, coriander, salt and hot sauce in a large stainless steel saucepan and bring to the boil over a medium-high heat. Stir this constantly. Reduce the heat and boil gently, stirring frequently until slightly thickened, which will take about 10 minutes. Remove the jars from the stock pot using a jar lifter. Now that your salsa is ready, we can begin to fill the jars. Using the funnel, ladle hot salsa into your heated jars one at a time, leaving a ½ inch headspace at the top of each jar. Each jar needs space between the food and the rim of the jar to allow food expansion during the preserving process. The space is called headspace, and each recipe will tell you how much you need to leave. There is a handy tool to help you measure the headspace, the bubble remover and headspace tool. Next, wipe the rims. This is an important step that many people forget. Product left on the rim of the jars may prevent the sealing compound from coming in contact with the glass, and thus you will not get the correct seal. I like to use a dampened paper towel. Center the lids on jars, apply the bands and adjust to fingertip tight. The band's primary function is to keep the lids on the jars during the processing. If the bands are too tight, the air cannot be removed from the headspace of the jar. Pressure will build up and something will need to give. The lid will give before the jar and you will end up with a buckled lid or dented lid that may never seal. If they are too loose, the lids can wiggle back and forth and may not end up making contact with the jar or for a proper seal. Once your jars are filled, place them in the preserving rack and gently lower the jars into the water, ensuring the jars are covered by 3 to 5 centimeters of water. To heat properly, the jars must be surrounded by boiling water, and place the lids on the stock pot and bring water to a gentle steady boil. Process the jars for 15 minutes, adjusting for altitude. Just as with baking, you have to make adjustments with altitude for preserving. Each recipe will state the adjustments to be made. For water bath preserving, you must increase the amount of time the jars are left in the boiling water. Turn off your heat, remove the lid and let the jars stand for 5 minutes. Letting the jars stand for 5 minutes allows them to get acclimatized to the outside temperature, as you do not want a big temperature difference to occur. This preserving step is the crucial step many South African preservers are missing in the preservation process, and they are experiencing product spoilage after a short period of time. A true seal only happens after the heating process when the jar has cooled. Remove jars using the jar lifter and placing on a dish towel to protect against the cool countertop surface, and cool for 12 to 24 hours. As the jars cool, the food inside will begin to cool and contract, thus pulling what we call a vacuum seal. Most people think that the sealing process happens inside the preserving pot, but in actual fact it happens outside the preserver during the cooling process. Inside the pot, the heating process is occurring and is killing the bacteria that can cause food spoilage. Once you have the seal, the food is shelf stable and can be placed in your pantry until ready for use. Since it has a seal, the food cannot be recontaminated. Check the lids for seal after 24 hours. The lid should not flex up or down when the center is pressed. If the lids did not seal and the process was done completely, you can refrigerate for immediate use. Or you can follow the directions for safely reprocessing the jar on freshpreserving.co.za or the Ball Blue Book Guide. The Ball Blue Book Guide not only has recipes but also step-by-step instructions with illustrations. It is a go-to preserving guide as it not only includes information on preserving but freezing and dehydration too. So realistically, this didn't take much time, did it? This is a misconception many people have about preserving, that it's too time-consuming. It can be fun and enjoyable. What we've heard from preservers is that they need product recipes and resources to help them preserve. We are here to help you with the right products to make the preserving process easier. Also find step-by-step guides, how-to videos, recipes and tips at freshpreserving.co.za or connect and share with us on Facebook at Ball Preserving and Recipes South Africa or on Twitter at Ball_RSA. If you have questions, feel free to connect with us as well via our website contact page. I'm Linsell and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching and happy preserving.